breaking news. Well, I'm not really breaking any news because it's not like I was the first to know. But as speculated and as touched on before in the previous video, Jose Aldo is now confirmed as out of his UFC 189. Hold on a second, there's Jehovah's Witnesses. Don't think about it. Aldo is confirmed to be out of the UFC 189 fight, and in his place is Chad Mendes, and that will now be the main event for UFC 189. It will be, I believe, for the interim title, and if I've got that wrong, no doubt someone will correct me. But the fight as it stands is now Chad Mini Mendes, as Conor loves to call him, versus Conor the King McGregor. And what do I think and how do I feel about this? First of all, I think that maybe the right decision was made for Jose Aldo. If he truly feels that he cannot fight as close to his best due to an injury, then the best thing for him to do is to sit out, heal up, let his body recover, come back, live to fight another day. Obviously, knowing the things I do about MMA and how things work, I do know that when guys are in practice, specifically for a certain camp, injuries are inevitable. You can't even avoid them. They're going to happen. They're going to take place. No one ever really comes into a fight injury free. It just depends on the severity of an injury, and in the case of Jose Aldo, the injury is severe enough for him to not be able to fight. And I already had my concerns when he had this rib injury about his weight cut and how that would affect everything. So I think, and he's a man of pride, he's a man of great pride, and I think that Aldo does not want to come in like that, lose, and then kind of be like, well, I had this wrong with me. Even though from a promotional standpoint you could spin that around and then make the rematch the biggest rematch in history. That's just me, that's the pro wrestling brain in me thinking, but I think it was probably for the best. I know it's a bit disappointing because this is truly the biggest featherweight fight in its history. McGregor has done a fantastic job generating interest, getting people excited, and people from all over want to see this. I'll tell you something right now. On Monday, I was asked about 6 times about Conor McGregor from people who I don't think watch MMA, but came up to me and said, oh, that Irish guy's fighting next week. Is he fighting for the title? He's fighting for the title, isn't he? So that right there is telling me that people know who he is, and he's done enough to get his name and face out there. I think for Aldo also, this is probably going to be the fight where he gets the most recognition for, and unfortunately because of the injury he can't do that. Now, what do I think about Mendes and Aldo? I think that whilst you had the striker versus striker, or perceived striker versus striker with Aldo and McGregor, and that could go one way or the other, I think with Mendes and McGregor the fight is even more intriguing, because all of the people who said that McGregor has just fought strikers, he's been on a steady diet of strikers, we now get to see him in there with somebody that can strike a bit and has got very improved striking and really can generate power, but also someone with very, very good wrestling. And lots of people have said he's never been in there with a wrestler, he's been protected, that's why he's not fought Frankie Edgar or Chad Mendes, and he would never fight them if given the chance. Well, number one, he's accepted the fight, so that says a lot about McGregor, especially on less than 2 weeks notice in a sense. That's a big thing. And also the fact is, now we're going to have that question answered. Can McGregor negate Chad Mendes' wrestling? Can he defend against his wrestling? We're going to see how good he is pressed up by the cage and off of his back. And if I were him, and I hope and I believe that he would train off of his back, learn some submissions, have some techniques to use off of his back and up against the cage. What do I think is going to happen now? I don't see McGregor throwing too many kicks personally. I think he's going to rely a lot more on his hands, because if he throws a kick he's going to leave himself very open to a takedown. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. What works in his advantage is the fact that he's been in a training camp. So there's a difference between being in good shape for the gym, that's another thing to be in shape for a fight, and I think that's the advantage he would have over Chad Mendes, even though Chad is probably in shape anyways, but I see that as the advantage he will have. And I think obviously they've got some chemistry from a promotional standpoint. We all saw the famous BT Sports interview with McGregor, where Chad phoned up and said, "Have you even heard of wrestling?" And McGregor famously told him he'd rest his balls on his forehead. Well, on Saturday, July the 11th, on pay-per-view, we will see if that actually is going to happen. If Conor can rest his balls on his forehead. God, I need a drink. Anyways, that's just a quick update. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Let me know, is Chad Mendes going to completely crush Conor McGregor? Is Conor McGregor going to win this fight? Does this affect the interest of the show? Let me know how you feel. Let me know what you think. And I will also tell you one more thing. Hit that subscribe button down below. Take care and peace.